lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
We are here for round 7 of the Endurance for Amateur series. We are back here on ESPN and the iRacing Live portal. This is Endurance Racing GTE and GT3 Racing coming from the great country of Italy. And we've got more action on the way for you here tonight. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for making this a part of your evening. My name is Sam Cooper Bennett, soon to be joined by one Mr. Byron Rodney. And it's going to be fun and fast-paced for everybody. Some new drivers out in the field, and just want to point out, I do want to apologize for the last week's broadcast. We did have a few technical issues. We've got those ironed out now. This week we are fine. We are running absolutely hunky-dory, and as you've already seen, we are switching over to qualifying right now. I'm seeing Safe Fairies making his way out on track already. So qualifying underway already. So no time like the present. We are happily and ready to go. So while qualifying is getting geared up, we are just going to take a quick look at the point situation going into tonight's race. And we're going to start with GTE, if it'll let me. There we go. So coming into tonight, still sitting at the top of the points is Mr. Terry Calgar Jr. He is only 3 points ahead, though, of Paul Skip, who's in second place. Dennis Diaz, after another win last week at Circuit de Catalunya, is in third. Tony Watson in P4, just 2 points behind Diaz. Then you've got Brad McCombs in P5, who's been fast tonight, so we'll watch out for him in this one. Then you've got Tyler Langenberg, Brian Tyler, Oleg Vorotniak, Mark Dillon Jr., Jesse Brannon, Robert Garcia, Safe Fairies, who's now in GT3, so he won't score any more GT points. Jason Butler, we've not seen since round 2, and Christopher Craig, who made his debut last week for VSM Racing. He is scheduled to be in tonight. He's running a bit late. I'm not sure if he's going to make it to the race. He is in a bit of a traffic jam, so got to forgive him for that one. Looking at GT3, now this is a much bigger field in this one. Michael McCoy is leading the way by 8 points over Rex Hoyle, who's in second. Not really got the best of results here this season as Rex Hoyle, but been very consistent, got 95 points and is up in second place. Paul Boyle is in third, and you've got Keith Roycroft. Zachary Nurnberger is in P5. Matthew Lemoncelli, we've not seen for about 3 weeks now, and he's not here again here tonight. He's down in P6 now after collecting those 4 top 2 finishes in a row. Then you've got Safe Fairies, who's slowly working his way up the table. Chris Lawson, who I believe is not here tonight, he's down in P8 now. Marcus Osborne, who makes his return this week, is down in P9. Then you've got Daniel Barnett, Timothy Emanuele, Jack Gunsett, Dallas Sullivan, Dave Ferraro, Sean Atkins, Cody Atkins, Jeff Height, Atticus Middleton, who is here tonight as well. He is in P18. Then you've got Ryan Murray, William Alcala, Bryce Anderson, who is here. No, he's not. Yes, he is. He is here tonight. He is in the P21 spot, looking to pick up some more points here tonight. Derek Kozanowski is in P22, only the 1 start, and he finished third on that occasion. That was at Sebring. He's down in P22. Then you've got Carl Payne, Alan Dice, Gary Schilling, Darrell Whitford, Connor Daly, and Richard Sullivan rounding out your field there in the GT3 class. Now, we do have more drivers, more new drivers in the field here tonight. None more so than one Mr. Joe Morganti, who's just making his way around the track right now, and he's slowly getting accustomed to how the track runs. But another driver in the field is one Mr. Tyler Vickery. He's making his debut here tonight. Roger Shank making his debut in the Porsche. And also we have one Mr. We have Mackenzie Johnson making the debut here tonight. Now we got times coming in thick and fast already. Terry Calgar Jr. is already at the top of the board, 0.3 of a second faster than Dennis Diaz. Now Diaz doesn't seem to have the pace this weekend, this week, but we've seen time and time again that he will improve as the race session goes on. And more good news is that we've fixed the issue where the timing tower goes bouncing up and down. So we've another thing fixed. So hopefully that should work out as Michael Mccoy goes straight to the top of the GT3 field in his BMW. And looking for another straight win here tonight at Imola. But all is going well here so far for everybody. No serious incidents at the moment, but we've not got to the race portion of things yet, so still more to do. As McCoy is still making his way around the track. Terry Cagan Jr. still at the top though in GTE. Marcus Osborne, who's returned to the series, he's down in P9 in his class right now, and look what he's brought back to the track, the good old Reese's BMW. And I think he was listening to our requests from the last couple of weeks. Thank you for doing that, Mr. Osborne. Good to see you back in that livery. It's become quite a famous livery now as he goes off track, and that lap will be scrubbed. We've got a couple of times that have come in. Tony Watson is in for his time there as Zachary Nurnberger out on track. As I'm going to focus on one of the new drivers. That's Tyler Vickery out on track right now. As just bear with me, just doing some admin work here, but we are about just under 5 minutes left in qualifying, so make sure you get yourselves ready. This is going to be a pretty good race here tonight, and I know I'm looking forward to it. I love Imola. Imola's one of my favourite tracks around on the in the server, so definitely going to be looking forward to see how this one fares. But with just under 3 minutes left, Joe Morganti has not been able to set a time yet, as we're still looking at Tyler Vickery making his way around the track, and let's see what he can put down on his debut here tonight in that Mercedes. He was going to run the Lamborghini here tonight, found it a bit more difficult, so made the last minute decision to switch cars, and now is running in the Mercedes. He will have a new paint scheme as Christopher Craig does finally make it into the session, and he will be with us for tonight in the Porsche. So good to see him out there in this one. So Vickery crosses the line. He goes P7 on his first lap. Will he get another one in? I think he's got just enough time. Christopher Craig, however, might not have enough time. He is just getting into the session now, and he's not out on track yet. I don't think he's got enough time to get a lap in, unfortunately, as Vickery still continuing on his way. Is Green in the first sector. Sean Atkins, Timothy Emanuele, and Jesse Brannan also out on track. We'll keep an eye on those times as they come in, as Vickery comes out of the hairpin. Into the left-hander here, just taking it easy through there as he comes down to Aqua Minerale. Very difficult set of corners here. You've got this sweeping right into a tight right. Then you've got to be careful going up here. One dip off the grass, and then you're into the Armco. Does get it nicely as we come down to the chicane now. This is a very tricky little chicane. Got to brake early. Swift right and a swift left over the curbs and down again as we head downhill to the final part of this course. It's going to be very interesting to see how people handle this one, especially with the first lap and the chicane going through there. It's got to be a single file chicane, I'm sure. Not going to see many overtaken going through there as Vickery comes through the final corner now. Will finish off his qualifying run just in time as he comes down to the line. Will this be an improvement for Vickery as he comes to the line? It doesn't look like it will be. And Vickery does improve, but not by much. He moves up one spot ahead of Safe Fairies into P6. So good time there on his debut for Vickery. As there's Jesse Brannon in a BMW, goes for a spin and is facing backwards just to top off the session. The 333 driver is not going to get a time in, unfortunately, now, and we'll have to settle for that P8 in GTE. We've got more drivers in GTE that have not taken time. Mark Dillon Jr. not taken time. Neither has Brad McCombs. So that is going to do it for qualifying. So let's go to the grid for tonight's race, and starting up on the pole in GTE will be one Mr. Terry Calgar Jr. He'll be joined on the front row by Dennis Diaz. Row 2 will be Tony Watson and Paul Skip. Row 3 will be Tyler Langenberg and Robert Garcia. Row 4 will be Ryan Tyler and Jesse Brand. Mark Dillon Jr. and Brad McCombs make up row 5. Joe Morganti is in row 6. And I'm just wondering, Christopher Craig running a Porsche this time, but he's in GT3. I think he might have picked the wrong class, but we'll forgive him for that one. In GT3, then Michael McCoy back on the pole again for this one. He will be leading them off in that class. Mackenzie Johnson will join him on the front row. Paul Boyle and Sean Atkins make up row 2. Bryce Anderson and Tyler Vickery will make up row 3. Safe Ferries and Roger Shank will make up row 4, while Zachary Nurnberger and Marcus Osborne make up row 5. Row 6 will be Dave Ferrara and Cody Atkins. Rex Hoyle and Daniel Barnett will make up row 7. Timothy Emanuele and Atticus Middleton will make up row 8. Christopher Craig and Jack Gunset will make up row 9, while bringing up the field of 19 here in the GT3 field will be none other than Mr. Keith Roycroft. So as the field is ready to get going...
I made it.
Wow, just way to cut me off there, Byron. Thank you. But Byron is here. We're just about to start the race, and we've got 3 new debutants, a brand new team starting this one here tonight, Byron. VSM Racing has made its way over to Endurance for Amateurs.
Oh boy, look out. VSM Racing got some drivers that can wheel some cars in there, but this is endurance racing. We've talked about it before. You need to, you need to not be the fastest, but you need to be the most consistent. And Imola, it's a fun track to drive on.
Yeah, Christopher Craig made his debut last week. He's, I think he made the mistake of accidentally picking the GT3 car, but he is a GTE competitor, so a bit of a mistake there by Mr. Craig. But Tyler Vickery and Joe Morganti making their debuts here tonight as well, so keep an eye on them. Morganti's had a few troubles already, not able to take a time in qualifying as the pace car is off. Terry Calgar Jr. going to lead them down to the line for the GTE field, and we are ready to go racing. Green flag should be in the air right about now.
Now, maybe?
Maybe now. There we go. Green flag in the air. We're
There
racing here at Imola. And we are racing down towards the Tamburello chicane. And already Dennis Diaz on the attack for the GT3 field.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz, I was surprised when I got in here. I saw that he did not have the fastest qualifying time. Terry Calgar Jr. laid down a lap to be envious of it, a 139.6.
Oh, Brad McCombs is off in the background. Big hit into the wall for the man in the 23 Corvette. And that is a disaster for him already.
Yeah, it looks like he just got those left side tires up on the grass over that turtle, upset the suspension on the car. Big hit into the wall.
GT3 field is underway as well, as it looks like Michael McCoy off to a clean start here. Mackenzie Johnson on his debut is in second place. Then you've got Paul Boyle in third, Sean Atkins in fourth, Bryce Anderson in P5. Sixth is Safe Ferries has actually got a jump on Tyler Vickery on the start there. So Vickery already losing a spot there in this race.
Tyler Vickery, he's a guy that we know can wheel the car on a road course. We'll have to see how he does with this GT3 here at Imola. Rolling the 324. Looks like is he in a Mercedes?
He is. He was meant to run a Lamborghini, but he was finding it difficult, so he made the last minute decision to switch to the German car. So hopefully we'll see the Lamborghini next week, because you've seen the paint scheme that was made for it. It is a work of art.
Yes, I did. And I'm also looking at the other VSM. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Vickery going over the curbs there and almost going sideways. 2 non-starters in this race so far. That would be, actually 3. Christopher Craig hasn't started the race either. I think he's backed out of it, knowing that he made that mistake and picking the wrong class of car. So
that would be a disappointment for Christopher Craig.
Yeah, Mark Dillon Jr. and Keith Roycroft also not taking the start here tonight. Dillon didn't take the start last week as Joe McCoy loses it, going through Villeneuve, the Villeneuve chicane, and he'll face it sideways, and that's a baptism from fire for Morganti.
Yeah, it is. That's another paint job I've noticed. VSM colors. Morganti in the 53, rocking the Herbie colors on the Porsche. Gotta love it. Gets it wide out into the sand, sideways, able to keep it from hitting anything. No damage on the car. Gets it pointed right back on the track, and he's got some ground to make up.
Meanwhile, back in the front, Dennis Diaz has taken the lead away from Terry Cowger Jr., who's currently sitting in second place. Cowger's gone straight on the chicane here. Great big disaster for Terry Cowger Jr. If he has a bad result here, he might lose his championship lead.
Yeah, looks like he caught the Turtles. Again, Turtles bad. Turtles real bad. He caught it on the left-hander, upset the car, and it just sent him head straight into the wall.
Yeah, it did, and luckily it's only front-end damage on a rear-engine Porsche, so it won't hurt him too much, but he's got some making up to do, as we've got a problem for Ryan Tyler as well. Let's take a look and see what happened to him. This was a run down the hill to those 2 left-handers. The BMW driver just getting it all wrong going into there, goes completely sideways and collects, I think that was Brad McCombs for... no, it wasn't Brad McCombs. Who was that? It was Paul Skip, who's in the Corvette this week.
Yeah, Sam, it looks like Imola is throwing these guys a bit of a curveball here at the green flag at this race.
Yep, as Christopher Craig finally makes his way out of pit road. He is a lap down, so he's got some making up to do already, but don't count down Christopher Craig. He will be back up in the field as we go back to the front here. Robert Garcia up to 3rd place as he's capitalized on people making mistakes. Oleg Vorotniak is not here this week, which is very strange to say. He's usually quite consistent with turning up for these races.
Yeah, he is. I'm kind of shocked that some of the drivers are not here at Imola today.
Absolutely. As we're looking at Paul Skip, though, if Cowger Jr. has a bad race here, then this man will take over the points lead if he has a good finish. Paul Skip looking promising so far, sitting in P4, just ahead of Tony Watson, though, who's keeping him up. Very honest right now as they come down to complete lap 3.
Yep, and I got to step away for just 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Okay, as Dennis Diaz already extending his lead out to 6 seconds ahead of Tyler Langenberger, who's in 2nd place in his Corvette. He does have Robert Garcia right behind him. Terry Cowger Jr. is already starting to catch up to the back of Tony Watson. Jesse Brannon has had an incident as well. He's back there behind him. Brad McCombs playing catch up as well. Ryan Tyler is there, and Joe Morganti has fallen off the pace slightly. He's just coming through towards the Tamburello chicane now, but he will improve as the race goes on. Didn't get much practice before this start, so he will just keep going and get better as this race goes on. Michael Mccoy putting up the fastest lap of the race so far in the GT3 class. He is now 3 seconds clear of Mackenzie Johnson, who's in 2nd place. They've got Paul Boyle, who's been on really great form lately in P4. But look who's right behind him. Tyler Vickery has made up some incredible spots right now and is right on the back of Boyle right now. The Vickery on the pace here is got Sean Atkins right behind him. Roger Shank is up there as well. He's up in P6. But this battle really heating up between Paul Boyle and Tyler Vickery for that third spot in GT3. Tyler Vickery is on the move here already.
Yeah, and sorry I had to step away there for a second. Someone come out to ask what I was doing here for the night. But hey, when you park a big rig somewhere, they're going to ask questions. I'm all good. But Tyler Vickery is impressing me. Starting down at P17 gridded, and he's already up to the back of Paul Boyle. Paul Boyle getting it wide on a couple of corners, allowing Vickery to close the distance, but now Boyle looks like he's got it back under control, starting to leg a bit more out.
Yeah, and Cody Atkins just had an incident there in his Porsche there in the Falcon Porsche. And Byron, I will say this right now, I'm so happy that we were able to get those gremlins that we had at the Circuit de Catalunya completely ironed out, because this is running as smooth as silk right now.
Yeah, we apologize for last week to everyone that was wanting to tune into the race, all the friends and families of the league. After we signed off, we went ahead and got an internet expert online, and we were checking connections. Believe it or not, he actually checked every connection from Sam, in Ireland all the way over to America. It wasn't our internet connections at all. It all boiled down to iRacing was having issues that night for some strange reason. But tonight is a whole nother thing, as Dennis Diaz is already starting to leg it out, and Tyler Landenberg up into second place.
Yeah, and him capitalising on the mistakes by, not by Brad McCoy because he was near the back, but Terry Calgar Jr. making that mistake through the chicane. Speaking of Terry Calgar Jr., already back up to P6, by the way. He is slowly but surely closing in on Tony Watson, who's still keeping Paul Skip very honest as they come to lap. I believe that's Christopher Craig they're coming around right now.
Yeah, Christopher Craig in that GT3 car. He meant to come in a GTE, I was pretty sure, but heck, he'll rock that GT3. Christopher Craig working in that traffic right now, in between the Lambos, the Corvettes, right? He's actually in between the Corvettes, right all over the back end of that car.
Yeah, and speaking of Lamborghinis, there is only 2 Lamborghinis in the field here tonight. Mackenzie Johnson and I believe Safe Fairies is in there. And I will mention about Safe Fairies having a very poor race by his standards here tonight. Usually he's finding him near the front of the GT3 field. Currently down in P10 right now. Really poor race so far.
Yeah, and something I've noticed, Sam, and talking with these guys post-race and pre-race, when they practice for these events, they load up the track, they get in their practice sessions, and they run multiple cars to see what handles the track and their driving style, that combination the best. And that's why you'll see guys trade, from one manufacturer to another. The feedback I was getting from a couple of drivers prior to this race was the Lamborghini just did not like Imola, and that's why we saw some drivers switch out of the Lambo into other makes.
Absolutely. As Paul Skip has gotten away from Tony Watson here and is now shadowing Robert Garcia. Garcia in the best position he's been in all season, currently sitting third in GTE right now. As they're coming up behind, I believe that was Paul Boyle I just saw. No, it wasn't Paul Boyle. Who was that? Atticus. Oh, it was Atticus Middleton. So we've got 2 Rothmans paint schemes out there. One of them is Atticus Middleton. The other one is Paul Boyle. But Atticus is running a Formula 1 star Rothmans paint scheme. That's pretty nice on this car, actually. I quite like that.
Yeah, I kind of like it too, but I'm taking a look at Paul Skip and Robert Garcia. Don't look now, but those 2 yellow Corvettes have caught the back of another Corvette in the form of Tyler Landenberg.
I can assure you now they're not yellow. One of them is a good wrench, Del Senior style, and the other one's blue.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let me hit my Control R, and guess what? You are correct.
Oh dear, we've had we've had problems for Atticus Middleton here. He's got it all wrong through Villeneuve, and he's also got it wrong through the hairpin now, as we're going to go back and see what happened to him here. He was through Villeneuve, he got out of the way of everybody else, came back on track here. That was Terry Calgar Jr. going by. Here comes Christopher Craig, but Middleton just went straight onto the hairpin as well. That was a very strange incident for himself.
Yeah, it looked like he might have had a hardware failure there, because he did not get on the binders whatsoever. Drove way too deep and fast into that corner, and kind of had a meeting of the minds with the right side of his car to the barrier there.
Looking at one of our debutant drivers here tonight, Roger Shank is currently sitting in P6 right now in GT3, and I have seen a change for position in GT3, and that was for third place. We'll go to that in just a second, but Roger Shank making his debut, having a pretty smooth race so far, keeping Bryce Anderson pretty well, decently on arm's length here, about 1.8 seconds ahead, around 1.6 seconds ahead. But Tyler Vickery has gotten around Paul Boyle, now in third place in GT3.
Yeah, he's rocking that Mercedes, making that thing move up through the field. Tyler Vickery wheeling that car up to third place. We're going to have to see over the time of this endurance race if he's got anything for the top two on the track, which are Michael McCoy and Mackenzie Johnson.
Absolutely. We've got a monumental battle going on in GTE right now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in the running for second place right now, as Terry Calgar Jr. has been absolutely imperious right now. He is caught up to the back of these guys and is looking to move his way back up the field. But Tyler Langenberg has a bit of a gap over Robert Garcia, but Garcia is starting to close in. Meanwhile, Paul Skip has fallen backwards back into the clutches of Tony Watson in that Bremont Porsche.
Yeah, and I'm kind of watching these cars go around, Sam. Does it look to you the same as me? To me, it looks like the Corvettes have just got the raw power, but those Porsches are so nimble in the corners.
Yeah, the Porsches are really good around the corners, as it looks like Paul Skip having a few connection issues here. Having a bit of a blink right there, and you don't want to see that happen at this stage of the race, not this early.
No. You know, you're more familiar with Imola, way more familiar with it than I am, Sam. Tell everyone how it is to try and get around this and how technical it is of a track for these cars. Yeah,
it is very difficult, especially through that infield section, as here comes Tony Watson. Big move on Paul Skip into the Tamburello chicane, gets it done. Great move there by Tony Watson. He moves up to P4.
Looks like he just had the full-on advantage of sending it into the corner way deeper, getting on the binders, and able to hold that thing on the corner through the chicane, under braking. What a drive from the driver of the 59, Tony Watson, moving himself up into that fourth position, setting his sights on Robert Garcia now.
Yeah, and look who's right behind him as well. Terry Calgar Jr. has reeled these guys in, and he's up there as well, as we've had another problem for Brad McCombs. He's off through the Villeneuve chicane now. That is a very difficult place to beat off. I think that's a Villeneuve chicane, and it is. He's now got Ryan Tyler breathing down his neck, as we've got a battle here between Jesse Brannan and a very slowly improving Joe Morganti. Now, Morganti has got off to a slow start here. He'll admit that himself. He got it all wrong at the start, but he's using those lines. He's actually learning this track, and he's slowly picking up pace here. Only problem is, look who's right behind him, Michael McCoy of the GT3 car.
Exactly. Now, talking to Joe Morganti pre-race before he got in here, he full-on admitted Imola is not a track he's super familiar with. He doesn't know it, and it's going to take him probably, I'd say, a good 15-20 minutes to get this thing muscle memory in his in his legs and his arms, and it's going to take him a little bit of more memory to spot those braking points, those corner entry points. But when he does, look out, Joe Morganti can wheel a car. He will breathe, towards the end of this thing, I look for him to advance a bit more.
Absolutely. As he's pulling away from McCoy now, so that's a good thing. He gets it all wrong though. It's a left-hander. Not too bad though. He's gone completely off there before, so it's a big improvement for himself.
Yeah, he's just learning those braking points by the look of it to me.
Yeah.
But focusing out in the front of the field, Dennis Diaz putting the whooping on him all over again.
Yeah, looking for yet another win on the season. The reigning champion missed only one race this season. That was at the very start of the VIR, as he's coming up to put a lap, I believe that's Zachary Nurnberger coming up on him, isn't it? It is. So Nurnberger not having the best races by his standards either. He is currently sitting in P14 in GT3, so not the best race for him so far.
No, taking a look through the GT3, I mean, Michael Mccoy is still out in front. He's got himself a pretty sizable lead on Mackenzie Johnson. Mackenzie
just got around Jesse Branham right there, as Brannon's had another issue.
Yeah, Jesse Branham not having the race he's looking for.
And Morganti's had an issue as well. He's fallen way behind the GT3 field. I think Brannon and Morganti have had an issue here. Let's go back and see what happened. As we're looking at Brannon, as he's coming into the Villeneuve chicane. Now he gets it all wrong, goes for a spin. And, Morganti does the same thing and then clips him as well for good measure. And both of them going around at the same time in exactly the same fashion.
Yeah, and that can't happen when you're learning a track and somebody overdrives a corner and you're using them as what we call the jackrabbit. You're chasing the rabbit, and they overdrive a corner. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to overdrive that corner and follow on them and do the same thing. And that was a prime example of that happening.
Yeah, Cody Atkins just had another incident there. He's dropped a few more spots again behind Daniel Barnett. And while we're looking at this little pack of cars, look who's back there, Byron. I've already picked it up myself, but one Mr. Marcus Osborne, who's just gone together with Daniel Barnett. He's back in the Reese's BMW.
Yes, he is. Maybe he took a listen to us talking about how we were missing that car. But yeah, he had a little bit of a meeting of the minds right there. Two cars trying to occupy the same space on the asphalt. Didn't quite work out for one, worked out for the other.
As we've had a pass for up in the GTE field, Tony Watson now finding himself in second place. He got the move done on Terry Calvin Jr. goes off wide. He caught up as well and was trying to get around Robert Garcia, but did not work out for him. He's now dropped down to P4 again, but Tony Watson has progressed. He is up into second place now. Will now try and set his sights on Dennis Diaz, but he's almost 16 seconds up the road.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz seems to be legging it out the more as he looks at his relative and he looks back at timing and scoring as he's driving. The closer he sees those cars together behind him, the more he's loving it, because he's able to get out there in the clean air and run his line and pick off the slower cars that he comes up to lap, at his leisure, while these other guys are side-by-side racing on a very technical track.
Absolutely, as Watson has now gotten clear of Garcia. Calgar Jr. now playing catch-up again, but goes wide at the... as Calgar Jr. having connection problems as well. That's let Paul skip on the inside through the hairpin. Calgar going to come back at him up the hill, and will take that position back again. So those connection issues plaguing Terry Calgar Jr. Paul Skip, though, a bit frustrated, though, trying to get around him. Probably a bit scared, though, while he's blinking out like he is.
Yeah, that can't get scary because you have a car blink back in. All of a sudden, iRacing says, hey, there's a car here, and it's right inside your car, and damage model occurs, collision model occurs. Next thing you know, the both of you have got incident points, and you're scooting off the track.
Absolutely, to go through the chicane right here, and Calgar's still out in front. They're just making their way, I believe, around. That's Timothy Emanuele that's just going around right now as they come down the hill once again. And Tyler Langenberg is really falling off the boil already. Dropped from second to sixth in the space of 2 laps here.
Yeah, Tyler Langenberg not having the performance that he's wanting out of his car. But I've been paying attention to our GT3 class. I'm still seeing Michael Mccoy out in front. And I see Mackenzie Johnson chasing him. But don't look now. Not too far behind those two, Tyler Vickery's catching him.
Yes, as you see the 324 right there, just coming through Aqua Minerale up the hill, and he is closing in. The gap now between Johnson and Vickery is approximately 5 seconds, and it is coming down ever so slightly as Vickery, nice and smooth through the chicane there, coming down the hill once again, not too shabby at all. He is bringing Sean Atkins with him, however.
Yeah, Sean Atkins is not a driver to take lightly. If you give him what we call, once again, that rabbit to chase, he is going to see the line you're running. He's going to use it. He's smart enough to know where he can pick up time on that track. And he's just going to watch for your mistakes, put the pressure on you, force you to make the mistake. And next thing you know, boom, you're down a spot and he's on the way.
Yep, as here he comes down through the start-finish straight. That's Sean Atkins right now. Biggest battle on the track right now is Rex Hoyle versus, if I can find it, Rex Hoyle versus Zachary Nurnberger. And I believe that is Cody Atkins right there. A three-way tussle right now for 11th place in GT3.
Yeah, as they hustle it around the corner, taking it wide around that corner, using all the track they can in the runoff space, but you got to be careful. We've already seen it. Watch out for those berms.
Yep, as Hoyle just falling off the back of Nurnberger just ever so slightly. Currently sitting second in the GT3 standings right now, so just wants another consistent race here as we're looking at the battle between Atkins and Nurnberger as they go through the Tamburello chicane. And Nurnberger, you can see, looking more threatening than you would think around here behind that Falcon Porsche.
Yeah, but he is just, putting the pressure on him, but not super as yo! Cody Atkins gets it all wrong, way wide out into the runoff area, allows Nurnberger to get by, and that's what I was about to say. He was applying that pressure without, bumping him or pushing him, just waiting for him to make a mistake by driving out of that rearview mirror instead of that windshield, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And that's what I always preach when it comes to racing people. You don't have to make the move as soon as possible. Just stay behind the driver in front of you. Keep the pressure on. Force them into a mistake. And that's exactly what we saw there. As you see Robert Garcia going around Cody Atkins. It will be Terry Calgar Jr. going around him as well. It's a big sideways moment there for Robert Garcia coming out of Aqua Minerale.
Yeah, as he hustles it up the hill and heads up to the hill, brings it down to the chicane.
They're going to all
Calgar Jr. is driving like he is on a mission. Ever since that lap 1 incident, he has been elbows up around this track.
Yeah, and he's been trying to get back to that second spot ever since, but he's about 4 seconds off the back of Tony Watson now, but is really putting Robert Garcia under pressure now as they come out of the final corner now, down towards the start-finish line. As Brad McCombs has had another incident here. He's had a pretty big off there. I believe that was at the chicane. We're going to go back and take a look and see what happened here. And it's on the run down to the chicane. Let's see what he did. Just hit those bumps. Lost the back end of the car. And around she went.
Yep, and that is why you need to pay attention to those track limits. You need to know where you can and where you can't. Brad McCombs bringing it pit side. Looks like he's got some damage. He's had enough of that. He's going for a service and a fast repair.
That he is. And we said to watch out for Christopher Craig, even though he was a lap down. He's already only 18 seconds behind Atticus Middleton. That's how fast he's running right now. Christopher Craig is on the move here. Michael Mccoy has moved well into the top 10 now. He's in P8 overall, even though he's in the GT3 class. 13 seconds clear of Mackenzie Johnson. It seems like it's business as usual for the leaders of the GTE and the GT3 classes, both of them with quite considerable leads now.
Yeah, and Terry Calgar Jr., to go back to him, he is driving like a man on a mission, elbows up as we call it, doing his best, because as we saw it from the start of the race, those first couple laps, he knew he had something in that Porsche. He had something for Dennis Diaz, and now he is driving on a mission to get around these guys and try to catch back up to Dennis. But while he's doing that, Dennis is sitting there enjoying 18-second lead at the moment?
Yeah, and that's just over Tony Watson, who's 5 seconds up the road from Paul Skip and Terry Calgar Jr. So actually is, yeah, it's 5 seconds up the road. So, you know, it's difficult now. He's got all that time to make up, but we do still have the pit stops to come. 2 in total they have to make before this race is over. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that and see if they can move the way forward. As here comes Terry Calgar Jr. Big move on the inside of Robert Garcia. Doesn't quite get it done through the Villeneuve chicane. Is he going to make the move into the hairpin? As Paul Skip taking a look now. We've got a 3-way battle for 3rd place here. Heating up here in the GTE battle.
Oh, wow. You saw 2 different lines through that. You had Robert Garcia taking one line. You had Terry Calgar Jr. taking a different line to try to make that undercut as Calgar Jr. does get by him, but he rolls it wide on that corner exit. Wow, you can't even put a piece of paper in between those 2 cars as they are really fighting it out for that position.
That they are, and Calgar coming off the winner, finally making that aggressive move up at the top of the hill and on the way downwards as he comes up towards the chicane now. Can you hold on as Garcia looking threatening again, trying to get back around him as they go through the chicane. Garcia making the faster line through there. Might have gone off track though. Needs to be careful with those as they come down towards the hill, down towards those double left-handers.
Well, I tell you, that was some aggressive driving out of the 911 pilot, Terry Calgar Jr., riding in that Porsche, and it's worked out. He got around those 2 Corvettes. Now he's got to set his sights on the back end of Tony Watson to try to chop down that time.
Yep, some Porsche on Porsche crime coming right up, but he's got 7.8 seconds to make that 7.9 because Watson is still setting faster lap times than Terry Calgar Jr., but Watson's had a cleaner track than Calgar, so that might owe to the better lap time than him.
Yeah, going back to the GT3 class, Michael Mccoy has got a substantial lead on the GT3 field. Mackenzie Johnson's still holding down second, and it doesn't look like Tyler Vickery has been able to cut into that time behind Mackenzie. It looks like they've kind of evened out.
He is cutting into it, but slowly. The gap now is 4.7 seconds between Johnson and Vickery, so Vickery still looking for that gap to come down as Atticus Middleton is back in pit road once again. Going through the first of the 2 left-handers down the second. Joe Morganti is slowly creeping up behind him as well. Obviously 2 different classes here. Morganti in GTE, obviously Vickery in GT3, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue here for Morganti. No,
and you know, to tell you the honest truth, I know how Joe feels right now because when I ran him in Spa with these guys in the GTE car, you know, I thought I might have had a little something for him because I could drive at Spa and I was good in the car, but this league and the talent behind the wheel with these guys taught me, oh, no, you don't.
Well, he's not last. That's the main thing. I mean, Mark Dillon Jr. not taking the green, and Brad
McComb's having a rough night.
Yeah, oh, Morganti gets it on sideways through Villeneuve again. He really needs to pay attention to that corner and just back that corner up a little bit. He's had more problems through there than anywhere else here tonight.
Yeah, he'll get that corner down. Like I said, it was a pre-race conversation. He's unfamiliar with this track. He's, you know, got to learn it. But he'll get better with it. All it is practice, practice, practice. And we both know, you know, from previous leagues that we've been in with Joe, he will get it down. He will be a competitor for him.
Yep, as Ryan Tyler is in pit road is in P7 right now. He'll drop a couple of positions as this goes on, but he's in for his first pit stop. Right behind him is Timothy Emanuele. He's in pit road as well, and somewhere along the line Atticus Middleton has absolutely destroyed his car. He's sitting in pit road as well right now as we are looking at Dennis Diaz. Question will be when will he make his pit stop. He's going to be very comfortable though because everybody else behind him still has to pit too.
Yeah, and Dennis Diaz, you know, we've seen it how many times, Sam? He pretty much has a strong sense of where the bottom of his fuel tank is. He'll run that car until he can't make another lap, and then he'll look to bring it down. He'll stay out as long as he can, looking to overcut as much as he can, because once again, I haven't seen these guys taking tires.
Yeah, and it's going to be another race where nobody takes tires. We had another change for position in GTE. Paul Skip has now gone around Robert Garcia, and Tyler Langenberger is slowly closing in on him as well. So Langenberger's picked up the pace now, knowing that Garcia is having a few problems there in his Corvette, and Langenberg wants that position away from him.
Yeah, that battle's getting a little tighter. Langenberg's got him in his sights. You can see him. He's got a GT3 in front of him. He's just got to get around, and then he sees the two Corvettes of Robert Garcia and Paul Skip. But I'm looking up at Terry Calger Jr. He can actually see up the track to the next spot of Tony Watson when they get that long straightaway. Terry Calger Jr. is chopping into that time.
Not anymore. Made a bit of a mistake going through the Villeneuve chicane. Now is 8 seconds behind Tony Watson, so not really making up the time anymore as Paul Skip is staying with him. Robert Garcia still trying to shake off Tyler Langenberg. They both got around Dave Ferrara. That's who they were trying to get around, as Ferrara not having well, he's having a very quiet race so far. That's the first we mentioned about him, talked about him so far, as we are now under 1 hour to go here.
Yeah, he is, Dave Ferrara, he's moved up a couple of spots from where he started. Very quiet race, but you've noticed how many times have we seen it? Certain drivers excel at certain tracks. This track doesn't seem to be suiting some drivers, but it does suit other ones. As, I can say that all I want. Dennis Diaz seems to be running away with it, at every track. But some of the other drivers, they fare better. We saw them work better at Spa than what they did at Sebring, and then flip the script over. The guys that did better at Sebring didn't do very good at Spa.
Joe Morganti in pit road as well for his first pit stop of the night. He's going to bring it in for some fresh fuel, and we're going to see if he takes any tyres or not as we go back to Terry Calger Jr. The gap is taken. Wow, 2 seconds out of Tony Watson already in one lap alone. That is fast.
Yeah, and tires are going on the number 53 Porsche.
So he's just testing the waters here. Feels like he doesn't really have anything to lose at this point, so he is going to take tyres and see if it makes any of a difference. As we're looking at Terry Calger Jr., the gap now 5.7 seconds, so Calger is on the move here.
Yeah, he's driving like a man possessed. What is your timing and scoring will show it better. Has he chopped that gap down from him to Dennis Diaz any?
The answer is no, because Diaz has pulled his lead out to 19 seconds over Tony Watson now, so it falls back like a domino effect, and Calger hasn't really cut that lead down as Emanuele goes off through the chicane now, nearly collects Calger and Paul Skip, and I think that's Roger Shank in the mix of that as well.
Yeah, that could have got really ugly, but it didn't. Everyone gets through unscathed. They gather it up, re-rack, and try again.
Absolutely, yes. Here we go. Pit stops are underway. Dennis Diaz and Tony Watson both in pit road here, Byron, as the lead guys are in for their stops.
Yep, they come in lap 21, so about 20 laps, all you're going to get out of a tank of Go Fast here at this track. As Dennis Diaz, he's in for his service. I'm paying attention to see if he takes any tires. Does not look like he took tires. Fuel only, down and away.
Yep, as we're looking at him just coming out of pit road right now, Paul Skip and Robert Garcia opting to take an extra lap here as they go through the Villeneuve chicane. There is Paul Skip. Robert Garcia has fallen back a little bit now. He's behind Roger Shank right now. Calger Jr. and Tyler Langenberg also took it down pit road. They are in their pit stalls. Calger taking a bit of extra time in there, probably to take a bit more fuel on. Obviously, he was running like a man possessed there. He probably had less in his tank than everybody else.
Yeah, not only, running like a man possessed, but he probably needed a little bit of that fast prepare. I wonder if he took it from when he went off track there in the opening laps.
As Morganti's off again, going through the double left-handers. He's come back on track. Hopefully, he gets out of the way of Tyler Vickery. He's in a battle with Brad McCombs right now. GT versus GT3 as McCombs going to sail around the outside. This will be pretty academic here. McCombs will be able to sail on by Vickery right there.
Yeah, that GTE car just has way too much horsepower on the straightaway, especially the Corvette.
Yep. And Vickery, his gap to Mackenzie Johnson, now up to 6 seconds, so Vickery's lost some time somewhere. As Morganti, I believe, might just be, well, he's back in pit road again. We'll find out why in just a second. Paul Skip is in pit road as well. He is going to take his first stop of the night. I've noticed he's got some rear wing damage on his car, so that might have been what's hampered him so far here tonight.
Yeah, you would think this track wouldn't be so aero dependent, except for that long straightaway. Well, there are two pretty long straightaways here on this track, so you want all your aero. You don't want something affecting you, but a bent wing, especially on the medium speed corners, is going to offer you some handling problems here. So yeah, get that wing fixed, get back out on the track and see if you can make up any time. As green flag cycles are still happening, we're going to have to wait until everyone gets done to see where this all cycles out.
I've just seen an incident for Bryce Anderson there going through the Tamburello chicane, just getting it all sideways. And Sean Adkins, who was having such a good race so far, very quiet race so far, also getting it wrong through the hairpin. Just running a bit wide there, losing the back end, and I've done that before, just run a bit too far wide out of the hairpin and just it spun me around there. And it's not nice to spin there, because sometimes if you spin it too hard, you'll end up in the wall. And like you said, Michael McCoy is in pit road.
Yep, Michael McCoy brings her pit side. That's going to hand the current lead at the moment off to Tyler Vickery. We're going to see if he brings it in pit side. You figure he's going to have to on this lap, as the GT3 cars look like he can get about another lap or two of fuel out of them.
That is absolutely true, as there is Vickery just coming through the Villeneuve chicane. Garcia is in pit road from the overall lead now, so he will take his pit stop, but Dennis Diaz not too far behind. He's already coming through the start-finish straight. He will retake that lead, and the most amazing thing here is Tony Watson is only just coming through the double left-handers. He's a full, I believe that's 38 seconds behind Dennis Diaz right now.
Oh, wow. Terry Calgar Jr., that puts him, like 44 seconds behind the lead. He's got, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of this race with Terry Calgar Jr., the way he drove elbows up. Now that the pit cycles have happened, the cars are getting strung out on the track. You're going to see the drivers be able to drive their lines, not having to negotiate so much traffic. We'll see what Calgar Jr. has got for the field at that point.
A bit of a correction here. Tony Watson is 20 seconds behind. Calgar is 26 seconds off the lead. Langenberg is 7 seconds back from Calgar Jr. Robert Garcia, after a stop, didn't work out for him here. He's down in P5. Even worse for Paul Skip. He's down in P6.
Oh, I'm watching pit lane. Tyler Vickery bringing it in. A slow car in front of him. Tyler noses it into the back of the car in the pits. Probably going to have to burn that fast repair to fix the nose on that Mercedes.
And that was Jack Gunsett in pit road as well. So that was not a nice way to enter pit road here.
Who is that? That's Cody Atkins backing up in pit road. A long backing up in pit road.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at this incident on pit road here. Gunsett was very... Wow, Gunsett stopped at the line at the entrance to pit road. That is not a good way to enter pit road at all.
No, especially not with traffic behind you.
Yeah, I mean, he stopped dead at the line on the entrance to pit road, and it was... and Tyler Vickery was caught a bit off guard with that one. Will take his fast repair, though. He does take tyres, though, so... Interesting strategy there for Vickery, as Dave Ferrara, Marcus Osborne, Zachary Nurnberger, Rex Hoyle and Daniel Barnett bring it into pit road now. So wholesale pit stops in the GT3 class. Disappointment though for Tyler Vickery. He's going to lose some time though with that tyre change. Hopefully he can get out ahead of Jack Gunsett though. They're side by side coming down pit road.
You know, Joe Morganti, he took tires on his first pit stop. Tyler Vickery, he took tires on his first pit stop. What do these two drivers have in common? This is their first race here at E4A tonight in the league. I wonder if they, didn't know that, hey, everyone's going to double and triple stint their tires. So they gave up a lot of track position for the fresh rubber. We're going to have to see if the fresh rubber pays off in performance, as they'll have fresh tires where everyone else won't.
Yes, that's my bad. I kind of forgot to relay that message, so they can kick me in the ding-ding afterwards.
Yeah, and it looks like Cody Atkins has put it on the hauler after being DQ'd for backing up all the way down pit road.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a silly thing to do. Why you would reverse all the way up pit road is just...
And Safe Ferries has put it on the hauler and called it a night.
Let's take a look and see what happened to Safe Ferries here. It looks like he just took it down pit road and called it a night. Oh, he got a penalty. That's what it was. He got a pretty hefty penalty, and that is what has put Safe Ferries out of the race here tonight. He was having a very uncharacteristically poor night here tonight, so no surprise that he's decided to call it a night early.
Oh, taking a look at Jesse Brennan. He spins it coming around off track. He's going to have to be careful where he joins back in.
Yep, as Morganti's had another incident here. He's had a crash. As I believe he got into it with Bryce Anderson here. Let's take a look here. Oh no, Bryce Anderson lost the car and Morganti had nowhere to go, and that's Ryan Tyler hitting the side of Morganti as well, and that would have damaged, well, you can see the result there. Ryan Tyler bringing it down to pit road with some severe damage.
Yep, and no fault on the number 53 of Joe Morganti on that one, just nowhere to go.
Yep. Oh, Vickery's in trouble. We've got a big problem for Tyler Vickery. Gone off track, and I believe that's Aqua Minerale. Take a look and see what happened here to Vickery. No, it wasn't. It was up at the Villeneuve chicane. Just lost the back end and noses it into the tyre wall. And what was such a good race for him so far here tonight is completely come undone here for Tyler Vickery.
Well, you know what? We've said it how many times in endurance races, and we have to watch that ourselves when we do our endurance races in the 24.
Oh, he's gone around again.
Tyler Vickery, he's taking tires on his last stop. He's on his out lap. That's cold tires.
Yeah. And it's going from bad to worse for Vickery. He's lost a spot to Nurnberger. He's backed it into the wall now, and he has towed it to pit road. And yeah, it's completely fallen off the ball. Don't do it.
Do I dare say it? I won't.
No, you can say it.
Alt F4 has happened.
That it has, as we go back to the GTE field. Brad McCombs is currently making up for lost time here. He's currently sitting in P7 in GTE, 12 seconds off the back of Tyler Langenberg, I apologise, and closing in ever so slightly. Daniel Barnett has had an off here. We'll just quickly go to that one. I think that was through the chicane, and it was. So Barnett just having a few issues there. A lot of retirements, all of them though from GT3 so far. So GT3 having a lot of problems there as Atticus Middleton is off the track again.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, I was going to keep my eyes on that car running in third place overall right now. The 911 Porsche of Terry Calgar Jr. And it's, well, I'm not going to say 911, but yeah, Safe Ferries, he just sent me a message and said, you know what? He is a driver that races in VR, and his VR crapped out on him. I have had that happen to me, Sam. That's what took him out of the race and caused that big, hefty penalty.
Yeah.
But no, I'm taking a look at Terry Calgar Jr. He is starting to cut into that gap between him and Tony Watson, as Calgar Jr. has clean track ahead of him and just a couple of cars to negotiate.
Yeah, and that would be, one of them is Timothy Emanuele. He's just ahead in the BMW. And ahead of him, I didn't quite see who that was. I believe that's Dave. It's not Dave Ferrara. I'm trying to figure out who it is. Oh, it was
Tyler Vickery reporting in hardware issues, screen freezing up.
Yeah, and well, that's expected.
We witnessed that when we run other.
As Morganti's off the track with some severe damage, I think he might be the next retirement here, as he's got a very crumpled up looking car. He's going to continue, actually, so good good resilience there by Morganti. We've got a battle brewing up here, though. Well, we did have a battle brewing up. It's actually phased out. Robert Garcia is... actually, no, we have got a battle brewing up because Langenberg is starting to reel in Robert Garcia once again.
Langenberg moving that Corvette around this track, running beautiful lines around here, real smooth on the wheel. I'm really impressed with Tyler Langenberg's car control tonight.
Yeah, it's been really good here in this one as he goes through Acca Minerali. He does have Christopher Craig just up ahead of him, and Craig's just going to... I'm guessing he's just going to let him go by. Craig is slowly moving up the positions, though. He's only got Joe Morganti for position ahead of him. Actually, that made that Jack Gunset, who's just been passed by Morganti. As Michael McCoy, GT3 leader, has a 20-second lead over Mackenzie Johnson. Mackenzie Johnson, guess what? He's got a 20-second lead over Paul Boyle. So, well, as things stand right now, GT3 first and second are pretty sewn up at the moment.
Yeah, they're just kind of holding their spot on the track, and they don't have much traffic they have to negotiate coming up behind them, or they're coming up onto. So they can, they're free to just run their lines, hit their marks, be smooth with it. As cross flags go in the air, I think we're about halfway home.
Yeah, and with that being said, that means we are going to take our halfway break here at Imola. A bit of a rundown of your field there. Dennis Diaz is your leader by 22 seconds over Tony Watson. Terry Caga Jr. is in third. Paul Skipping fourth. Fifth is Robert Garcia. Then you got Tyler Langenberg, Brad McCombs, Ryan Tyler, Jesse Brennan, and John Morganti down there in P10 in GTE. More retirements than in GT3 than GTE. No retirements yet in GTE, so that's a thing, I guess. Michael McCoy is your leader by 21 seconds over Mackenzie Johnson, and Paul Boyle a further 20 seconds behind that in third place. Bryce Anderson in P4, Sean Atkins P5, Roger Shank on his debut in P6. Then you got Marcus Osborne, Zachary Nurnberger, Rex Hoyle, Daniel Barnett, Dave Ferrara, Timothy Emanuele, Jack Gunset, Christopher Craig, and Atticus Middleton running out your GT3 field. We're going to take a quick break, and we will return with more racing action after these messages. Just over 30 minutes to go in this race, and we are back here at Imola, and we're seeing a nice tasty little battle here between two GT3 drivers and two teammates, as it turns out. Zachary Nurnberger versus Marcus Osborne, battling out for what is P7 here at Imola.
Yeah, and we saw them battling earlier in the race where they kind of got together with the doors, and it didn't work out for one, but it did the other. I believe that was them that was battling as they go side by side through the chicane once again.
And Osborne doing a great job getting that position away through the chicane. Not normally a place where you make a passing move, but Osborne gets the job done. Great move for that Reese's BMW driver.
Yeah, and then focusing back in on the GTE class, what is that gap? Terry Calger Jr. has brought that gap down. He is elbow up. But Robert Garcia and Tyler Langenberg, they are pretty much almost nose to tail. We're getting ready to see a battle for the 5th place overall in GTE.
Now we are Langenberg and Garcia. I said earlier that gap was coming down, and now it has come down. Garcia trying to stay ahead of the number 91 machine, but as you already alluded to here, Byron, that gap between Calger and Watson has come down. It's 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Calger is, like we said, elbows up all over this thing. I have been impressed with the charge that he has made, and I think, seriously, in my opinion, Sam, I don't know about yours, I think you would have had something for our leader, Dennis Diaz, if he wouldn't have had that off track in the opening few laps.
Yeah, it was more than an off track. He went straight on at the chicane, and that put him on the back foot from the get-go. And yeah, it's a case of what could have been for Terry Calger, because he is playing catch-up ever since. We've got problems for Daniel Barnett right now. He's had a pretty hefty off track here. Let's go and take a look and see what happened here. He's behind Dave Ferrara. Oh, just lost it going through the Villeneuve chicane. Actually, I think that's through Tamburello. Big off there for the 67 BMW driver.
Yeah, and it does not look like it's handling very well right now, so he might be wanting to bring that in, get some repairs done if he does have a fast repair.
Yeah, that was Brad McCombs that just went around him. I just had a funny comment in the chat right now from Sebastian 5.0. He says, they say when Diaz pits his BMW, all of Germany stands at attention and salutes until he gets off pit road. So...
Comment of the night. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Diaz rocking the meme MW as he always does, and every now and again brings out the meme app. But look at it, the gap between Tony Watson and Terry Calger Jr. It is slowly but surely coming down. Now the gap, 3.3 seconds. Calger is slowly closing the gap, but that is the key word, slowly closing that gap here.
Yeah, but if you take a look from Calger's position, he can see that car in front of him down that straightaway. He knows he's closing that gap, but he's not overcooking the car. He's saving what goodies he's got left on those tires, so that when he does catch him for position, he can get another spot crawling up that podium and get all the points that he can and maximize it out.
Now we just had an onboard there of Terry Calger, and we're on board with him again as he goes through this left-hander at the top of the hill. He can see Tony Watson right there as they come down towards Acqua Minerale. The gap is less than 3 seconds. It's 2.7 seconds between Watson and Calger. And that's partly because Watson was trying to get around Rex Hoyle. Cost him a lot of time there. Now Watson is free. Now it's up to Calger to get around Hoyle.
Yeah, and it's all going to be where Calger catches Hoyle on the track. If he catches him at a good spot to make a pass, which it looks like he has, he's got that preferred lane coming down the straightaway, heading down the hill. Pass is complete, and he's even closed the gap to Tony Watson even closer.
That he has. And he is going to be off in search of that Brumos Porsche right now. The gap is back up to 3 seconds after Calger had to make that pass, but it's going to be pretty academic. I think Calger can close that in if he has a clean enough run. There's no cars in between him and Watson right now. As we go back to the battle between Garcia and Langenberg, this one's starting to really heat up now.
Yeah, Langenberg has not overdriven that. He's held that pretty line through this whole thing. He has steadily, just carefully worked it up to the rear of the 24 machine of Robert Garcia, because he knows he's not going to overcook those tires, and he knows he has got a good 33, 34 minutes left in this race to get the job done, as he is right on his tail now.
Yeah, got a good run coming through the Tamburello chicane, now through Villeneuve and up into the hairpin. Is he going to make a move right now? Doesn't quite have the momentum right there. He's going to try and get a good run out of the hairpin now, up the hill. And Langenberg really looking up for this one. This is a battle for the top 5 overall.
Yeah, and what have we said, endurance racing, Sam? Don't have to overcook your stuff trying to get around somebody. Just keep the pressure on them. And we saw it earlier in the race. One driver keeps the pressure. The driver in front makes a mistake. Position's yours that quick.
Yeah, Daniel Barnett in pit road right now. He's coming for his second stop. I wonder if that is a repair for damage, though, because... to repair damage though, because he has had a big off recently. So back in as Watson's had a bit of an off here. He's just come back on track, and that's given Terry Calgar Jr. in second place. But interestingly, just as soon as he takes it, Terry Calgar Jr. jumps to pit road.
Yeah, he's coming in for his next pit stop, getting a little off cycle, looking for that undercut. And I'll let you go ahead and explain what can happen with an undercut.
Well, he's looking to get that gap bigger between himself and Tony Watson. He wants to get this pit stop out the way. When Tony Watson takes his pit stop, wants to get out ahead of Tony Watson. He did take a fast repair there. I wonder...
Yes, he did.
I wonder if there was some damage there between Watson and... if there was a collision between the two. Let's take another look here. Oh no, Watson locked him up going into the hairpin and just went straight on. Oh, it wasn't into the hairpin, it was the double left-hander. Let's take another look at that one. Coming down the hill, just completely locked him up coming down the hill. That was a very scary incident for Watson.
Powder, he decided to take that opportunity to go ahead and pit right then, get his fast repair, and get as much time out on that track to build up as much of a gap as he could. It'll be interesting to see if Tony Watson goes ahead and comes into pit to cover that undercut that was just made.
Yeah, Diaz is in pit road as well. He's going to take his final stop of the night, as it looks like Sean Atkins is in as well from, I believe he was in 5th place in GT3. Gunser has had an off somewhere. We'll go to that in just a second. Ryan Tyler's had an off as well. One driver we've not heard of in quite a while is one Mr. Joe Morganti, who's very nicely... I've not seen him have an incident for quite a while here in that Herbie-inspired Porsche.
No, he's getting the track figured out. And, if I had to stick a feather in anyone's cap for any reason tonight, it's going to be Joe Morganti. Why? He had adversity early in the race. How many times have you seen drivers that have had problems in the race, you just get frustrated and say, I can't do that, and hit that Alt F4 button and say, to heck with it, I'm done. Joe Morganti has had that adversity, had those issues, and said, no, I'm going to stick this out. I'm going to run this to the end, and I'm going to learn this track, and I'm going to run with these guys. My hat is off to Joe Morganti. That's showing a lot of class of the driver of the 53.
We've had a battle in pit road, and Tyler Langenberg has won that battle in pit road, and that is because, interestingly enough, Robert Garcia has opted to take tyres in this pit stop. This might give Garcia the advantage going into the final part of the race. I will point out, though, Dennis Diaz, after his pit stop, has only lost one spot through that. And that's only to Tony Watson. He's cleared to run at the end. He's got a clear 15-second gap over Brad McCombs, who's still yet to pit, but a whole 30 seconds ahead of Terry Calgar Jr., so definitely not under threat right now.
No, and Tony Watson still turning laps out on the track. Has yet to bring it pit side. I'd look for Tony Watson if he's going to... They came in on lap, 21 the last time around? So he's probably going to bring it in. They just started, just they're currently running on lap 38. So I'd look for him to come in about 3 to 4 laps. He's going to stick it out to the end of his fuel run.
That he is. He's going to run that car right up until it's on fumes. As we look at our GT3 leader, as right behind him, I believe that was Brad McCoy coming in pit road behind him. It is from third place. He'll immediately lose that one because Terry Calgar Jr. just coming through the double right-handers, double left-handers right now to complete another lap, and he'll get that one done. So McComb's going to lose third place at least. Jack Gunsett is still in pit road. Bryce Anderson is out and off track here. Michael McCoy not yet brought it down pit road. He's a massive 30 seconds ahead of Paul Boyle right now.
Yeah, so but with that pit stop being done, it's going to be interesting when Tony Watson finally does bring it down pit lane, where he's going to come out on the track in relation to Terry Calgar Jr., because they were racing side by side. And don't look now, but Paul Skip has chopped some time out of Calgar Jr. He's only 3 seconds behind him.
Yeah.
Now, you said Langenberg took tires on that stop?
No, it was Garcia that took tires. He's fallen to 15 seconds behind Langenberg, but with those fresh tires on that Corvette, I expect that time to come down, but it's not right now. He's losing time to Langenberg. The gap now 16 seconds. He's lost a whole second there in that last couple of corners.
Have to pay attention to what his lap times are. Fresh tires versus old tires on see what the fall off is. Look at our good guy I can test this on, Big Dennis Diaz. Let me look at his lap times. Dennis Diaz is showing no fall off on lap times at all on these tires.
No, he's not. I mean, his last lap time was a 140.37. Compare that to Robert Garcia, who actually didn't set a representative lap time because that was his out lap, so we'll find out in just a second. Terry Calgar Jr., though, back up to third place. The gap between himself and Diaz, 32 seconds. When Watson pits, though, this is going to be the interesting pit stop here, Byron, because this battle between Watson and Calgar will be won or lost in pit road.
Yeah, and don't count out Paul Skip in the 85 machine. He that is pushing that Corvette, he's only, 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds behind Calgar Jr. right now. One mistake from Terry Calgar Jr. and Paul Skip's back in the running.
Yep, as the race of attrition continuing for GT3 right now. We've had a slew of retirements just recently. Daniel Barnett is out. Jack Gunsett, I believe, might be out as well. Timothy Emanuele is out. And
Tony Watson to the pits.
There we are, as Sean Atkins is also out. But here we go. This is the battle we've been looking forward to here, Byron. The battle of pit road. Is Calgar Jr. going to get ahead of Watson through this pit stop?
Well, Tony Watson's bringing it into his pit stall. He hasn't hit his pit stall yet as Dennis Diaz goes by him just now. So you got to figure, another 40 seconds before Calgar Jr. comes by, as Tony Watson is in his stall. I do not see tires going on the car, fuel only. I'll call it out when he comes out if you want to see where Calgar Jr. is.
Just coming through the two left-handers right now as he comes out the final left-hander, and Watson is out of his pit stall. This is going to be very close between the two as he comes through the start-finish straight right now. Where is Tony Watson? Still making his way out of pit road. This is going to be extremely close now, as there goes Calgar, there goes Watson. Calgar gets the jump on Watson, and there goes Paul Skip as well.
Skip. Yeah, Paul Skip has jumped Tony Watson. Tony Watson waiting a long time to go into pit lane. The undercut paid off for Calgar Jr. as he takes that position by a commanding lead.
Yeah, and just in the same breath, Paul Skip got the overcut on Tony Watson as well. So Watson losing 2 spots through that one pit stop, but he will have, he won't have the freshest tires as one goes off in the background. I believe that was Mackenzie Johnson in the background off the track, facing backwards, and he will drop a number of spots. Actually, he's dropped a P9 in GT3. He's had a mare of a second half of this race.
Yeah, we talked about it before. Mental fatigue, Sam. You get this deep into an endurance race, and it is mentally just challenging. You can make a mistake. You're like, oh my God, you get so focused on something, you forget a braking point, you forget a corner, and you can have issues like that. But we were talking during the break to ourselves. We were saying how settled down, or how kind of non-eventful this race was by how strung out all the positions were. And what does this group do to us one more time towards the end of the race with Tony Calgar Jr., Paul Skip, and Tyler Langenberg? We got a race, folks.
Now we do. So Calgar up to third place, Paul Skip in Calgar up to second place, Paul Skip in third, Tony Watson in P4. The gap is about the separation between the second and fourth, about 3 seconds there or thereabouts.
Yeah, and don't look now, but we saw issues earlier for the number 23 machine of Brad McCombs, and he's got that thing up to seventh place now.
Yep, not doing too badly as we've had another off for Joe Morganti. He is that's the first instance we've seen him have for quite some time, as he had a spin right there, and shortly afterwards had another off, and I believe this was coming down to the double left-handers. Yeah, it was. Ran a bit too far wide, back end stepped out, didn't spin it this time, just ran it through the gravel.
Yeah, but you know what? Hats off to Joe Morganti. He's still out there swinging at it. I look for him. It's going to be pretty fun to see him at Daytona with this bunch.
Yeah, and that is a track that Joe knows, so...
Joe knows Daytona.
Yeah, he does. And going to have a special guest driver next week for Daytona. One Mr. Nate Siefka making his debut with the endurance parameters. I believe Chris Walker will be there next week, as well as I believe Chris Samard will be there as well, backing up his teammate Safe Aries. So good to see him making his debut next week as well.
I'm just going to drop a number, not a name. Tell me, is the 55R going to show up?
Possibly. So we're going to have one heck of a battle next week at Daytona, so you will not want to miss it. Diaz versus Siefka. It's game on next week, I'm pretty sure.
I'm looking forward to that battle. Tell you the honest truth, Sam. I am seriously looking forward to that battle, as we're coming up to what, 20 minutes to go in this thing.
That we are. And you know, Nate Siefka is itching to get behind the wheel again. Obviously, he's taken a season off in Sim Racers Edge. He's in race control as Jesse Brannan just on his way out of pit road there. We're looking at Tony Watson right now, and he's not really closing the gap to Paul Skip right now. This is troubling times here for that Brumos Porsche driver.
No, but Paul Skip is actually closing the gap to Terry Calgar Jr., surprisingly.
Not by much, though. It's literally hundredths of a second, but they are all within sight of each other. We've had an incident for Bryce Anderson again. Go back and take a look at what happened to the man in the most colourful Porsche in the field right now. And it's into Aqua Minerale. Hits those, wow. Yeah, Turtle's bad. Turtle's bad.
Yep. There are some spots on the track that you definitely want to keep your car off of. And those turtles in that corner, yeah, bad.
Michael McCoy currently hunting down P6. That would be one Mr. Rex Hoyle to put a lap on him. But the gap between McCoy and Boyle, 34 seconds right now. That is pretty impressive, even by Michael McCoy's standards. I mean, McCoy always seems surprised that he's come away with an easy victory, but surely he can't be surprised with this one. He's been an absolutely dominant here tonight.
Yeah, he has held that wheel real steady, picked and chose where he wanted to make his moves on the track, did not put his car in jeopardy, just drove a masterful race from a technical spot. As I believe that's Calgar Jr. up behind him, getting ready to try and pass him, flashing the lights.
Yeah. One interesting point to note is that Michael Mccoy just lapped his closest challenger in the GT3 championship.
Yeah, this track seems to, we've been talking about turtles bad. Well, this track, Imola, for Michael McCoy, Imola good.
Well, we've just had a change for position in GT3, and this is because Paul Boyle has made a late pit stop here, and he's dropped to P4 in GT3. That has promoted Bryce Anderson up to second place in GT3. Now, I haven't seen many GT3 cars make a second pit stop here. Have they still got one left to make?
They do, because we are working lap 42 right now for the GTE cars. And we saw the GT3s go a lap longer, or 2 laps longer than the GTE cars on a fuel run. So yeah, GTE or GT3 does need to make a stop. So I believe that may have been a scheduled stop.
It was. Bryce Anderson has only made one stop. Michael McCoy has only made one stop. Jesse Brannon's in GTE. Paul Boyle has made his second stop, so he is safe to go to the end. Bryce Anderson, Roger Shank, Marcus Osborne, Rex Hoyle, and Dave Ferrara have all yet have not taken it down pit road just yet, so pit stops to come for them. But GT field all safe to go to the end. But look at the gap between Dennis Diaz and Terry Cowger Jr. now. Nearly 34 seconds now between the two, as we've got one off in the background that I believe is Atticus Middleton having another bad time here tonight.
Atticus, he's has his struggles on the track, but you know what? He's learned a little bit at times to rejoin the track, where to rejoin, how not to rejoin from earlier on. So, but he is still in there swinging away. The guys are giving him, what help they can, and my hat's off to him. He's trying. He's not just using that Alt F4 button and getting frustrated. He's going to hang it out there.
Now, you were talking about your surprise about where Brad McCombs is on the track right now. He's looking to extend that run right now, as he's now right on the back of Robert Garcia. And you have to say right now, for Robert Garcia, those new tyres on that Corvette not working for him whatsoever. He's not gained any time on Langenberg. He's in fact lost time and is now under pressure for that 6th spot in that GTE class.
Yeah, Brad McCombs is just, steadily just stayed after it, and clawed his way back up to the 7th position, looking for, the 6th position to get all the points that he can. Hats off to Brad McCombs. But, the tire strategy did not work out for the number 24 Corvette of Robert Garcia.
Michael McCoy in pit road from the lead. He will lose approximately about 35 seconds. Bryce Anderson is yet to take it down pit road, so we'll see him in very soon. But McCoy, just coming out of pit road, is actually over a minute ahead of Bryce Anderson. Bryce Anderson, who has taken it down pit road, I believe. No, he hasn't taken it down pit road, so Anderson still yet to pit, and yet Michael McCoy has been in and out of pit road and still is a full minute ahead of Bryce Anderson, who does now take it down pit road.
Michael McCoy Imola must be right in his wheelhouse. It'll be interesting to talk to him post-race if he stays in this position when we do the interviews, to ask him, okay, what was the secret weapon at Imola? Enlighten us so we can learn for the next time we might be behind the wheel here.
Morganti off again through the Villeneuve corner, and he gets back up and running again. Running P20 overall right now. That's P10 in GTE. A baptism of fire for Morganti, but not to worry. Christopher Craig, who made a late entrance into the race and is running in the wrong class. He started the race 1 lap down. He's now P10 in GT3, and that's mainly owing to the amount of retirements we've had so far in that GT3 class. Sean Atkins, Daniel Barnett, Timothy Emanuele, Tyler Vickery, Cody Atkins, and Safe Fair is out of the race. Keith Roycroft not getting started, so a lot of retirements in this one, as Bryce Anderson losing more spots coming out. Well, he's actually still in pit road. He's dropped behind Roger Shank now. Marcus Osborne, where's he coming? He's in 3rd place in GT3 right now.
Yeah, but has he been to the pit lane yet?
That's my answer. No, he hasn't.
As a lot of the GT3 class is on pit lane right now as we speak.
Yeah, just over 10 minutes to go. We're looking at the battle for 6th place overall. That is between Robert Garcia and Brad McCombs, and I will give credit to Garcia here. He's able to keep McCombs behind him. McCombs not really able to get a move done on him.
No, you know what? We saw this happen week before last, Sam. At Sebring, wasn't it? The week before last, we saw the guys at GT3 able to leg it out almost to where they could do it at one stop. But, we had one guy try to do it, had to come in for a splash and go. Remember that?
Yeah. Well, we've seen Ryan Tyler come down pit road 3 times tonight. Interestingly enough, as Brad McCombs almost gets collected by Atticus Middleton there. Probably not the best spot to be letting a guy pass in there, is it, Atticus? Just gotta say that.
Yeah, I got to go back and take a look at that again.
That was through
masterful driving.
Yeah, that was a good avoidance tactics there by McCombs, but crucially, that has lost McCombs a lot of time to Garcia. Meanwhile, a bit further up the track, we now have a battle for 2nd place as Paul Skip has turned up the wick here. He's right on the back of Terry Calgar Jr. and Tony Watson is right there with him too.
Yeah, we're going to have a 3-way dance for that 2nd position on the podium as time is starting to run out, so it's now time to push the scramble button, see what you've got left in that car, and give it all she's got.
Yeah. So let's hold on just one moment. Don't go anywhere. We have this battle brewing right now, and Skip seems the more threatening right now. Tony Watson not really pushing the issue. Seems to be quite happy where he is right now. But points mean prizes here, Tony. You need to get a move on if you want to get as many points as possible. Not really doing it at the moment.
Now, he's looking at the battle in front of him. He knows that Paul Skip's going to start pressing a little harder, and he's maybe thinking these two might do something to take each other out, hand him a 2nd place right there, as a free gift in a basket, as Bryce Anderson has put it on the hauler and called it a night.
Yeah, Bryce Anderson is out of the race, and that was pretty disappointing, really, because he was in a good position before he made his pit stop. And yet another GT3 car falling by the wayside. It's been very difficult for the GT3 drivers tonight.
Yep, as Michael Mccoy is still your overall leader. Paul Boyle, we saw him pit, he short pitted it earlier. Roger Shank is still out on the track. He's in 3rd position right now in the GT3 class, followed by Mccoy Osborne, Zachary Nurnberger rounding out the top 5 there.
Osborne has actually lost a couple of spots because he's just made his pit stop, so he's dropped to P6 now in GT3. Mackenzie Johnson has made his way back up. He's back in the top 5 in GT3, so no problems for him right there, as he is closing in on Zachary Nurnberger. So we have a battle for P4 in GT3 brewing up right now. But Boyle has managed to get some time back here. The gap is now 39 seconds between McCoy, but it still doesn't make for very nice reading between McCoy and Boyle, as McCoy just absolutely putting a whooping on the field. The gap between Brad McCombs was less than a second for a while, is now 1 point, about a second actually, between himself and Robert Garcia, as McCombs runs wide through the left-hander right there. The battle for 2nd place, though, still in a bit of status quo right now. Skip not really pushing this at the moment.
No, Skip, I think he's going to be content to hold serve right where he's at until we get a lot closer to the end of this thing. As I'm counting down about 9 minutes left to go in this race, he's probably going to hold it off until the last 3 or 4 minutes before he really starts pushing the issue and burning up what he's got left in those tires.
Well, you are a bit wrong, because there's 6.5 minutes left in the race, but
well, you know how my counter's a little off from your counter.
Yeah.
So I have to make that guess.
I mean, usually when you're wrong, it's usually when it's you count the time, it's less time on the iRacing thing, but surprisingly it's more this time. But anyway, Salt E. Croc. I'm not sure which driver that is, but it says the Spaceman shall return next week. I think that might be Daniel Barnett, because he likes to run the space type car things. It says Spaceman shall return next week. Great broadcast, guys. Wish I could return. Wish I could listen to you during the race. Well, you can, but it might be a bit distracting for you as we look back at the battle for 6th place here. Brad McCombs is Real Garcia back in again.
Yep, right back up on the back end of Garcia, putting the pressure on him, hoping that Garcia makes that mistake so he can capitalize and move up another spot.
Yeah, and he's running out of time to do it. Really needs to put the pressure on right now as Calgar Jr. Not really under pressure anymore. Paul Skip. The gap is about a second between Calgar and Skip now, so Skip not really, Calgar not really feeling any pressure. This second place battle really starting to peter out a little bit now as there is the battle for 6th once again. Very close between Garcia and McCombs. Really got to keep an eye on this one now.
Yep, and news flash for you from the IndyCar circuit running at Watkins Glen. VSM takes a 1-2 with the dub.
Again?
Yes. VSM making a showing tonight on ESPN.
Wow. Brilliant stuff as that one just coming to an end there on the other side of the channel. So for those that are IndyCar fans, go back and watch that one. They were at Watkins Glen here tonight. I believe the new scan was out today. I'm not really entirely sure, but definitely.
This race is complete. I'll go back and take a look and see. But yeah, you know what? I can't take my eyes off this battle. Brad McCombs is really starting to put the pressure on Robert Garcia right now.
That he is, but McCombs, it's very difficult to pass in places around here. Although we have seen drivers make very audacious passes. As, Garcia runs a bit wide through the hairpin there. That might give him a bit of advantage there too. McCombs has to come up the hill. And now can McCombs capitalise on it to come to the left-hander? The answer is no. Less than 5 minutes to go though. McCombs really needs to get the job done soon if he wants to actually get it done.
Yeah, he's just sitting there putting the pressure on him, hoping that Garcia will make a mental mistake like he did in that one turn. Wasn't able to capitalize, but he's going to keep his car right there to capitalize on any other mistake that happens.
Took a bit of a look coming down towards the chicane. Didn't quite pay off for him. Garcia gets a better run out of that chicane, and now Brad McCombs has got it all to do again on the run down to the left-handers as Morganti has gone off again. He's back up and running again. But McCombs really feeding that pressure to Garcia, and you got to be honest, Garcia's soaking it up pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, he is. Garcia's got some great concentration, holding his line, keeping himself out there. As Dennis Diaz is just running away with a 30-second lead, Calgar Jr. is starting to step it out a little bit more over Paul Skip. Paul Skip's falling back off. Tony Watson has fallen way off at the back of those two, holding down the 4th position. Tyler Landenberg kind of on an island all by his own as the battle for GTE right now happens to be Robert Garcia and Brad McCombs as they are side by side.
Yeah, through Villeneuve, and Garcia has been forced into that mistake, but McCombs, the gentleman driver, just giving it back to him. I think there was a bit of argy-bargy going on right there, but McCombs going to come back in again with another move up the hill towards the left-hander, and he's got to get this move done now if he wants to get it done. Almost banging doors coming to the left-hander, still side-by-side as it goes through, down towards Aqua Minerale. Garcia might have the line here, does have the line, holds on to it just about. What a battle we're seeing between these two near the end now.
Yes, his time is getting ready to expire. McCombs feeling the pressure to try and get one more position out of it. He wants that 6th spot. Garcia has it. Garcia is saying, no, you're not going to take it.
Yep, oh, a bit wide there for McCombs coming out of the chicane. Another off track. You don't really want to do that too often, but obviously with less than 3 minutes to go here, doesn't really matter too much now as they come to the double left-handers. Now, this is what McCombs needs right now. He needs a good run out of these double left-handers, and he needs a great exit out of here to try and get that draft off the back of Garcia down towards Tamburello and see if he can take that position away. He does have that run. He's closing in very quickly. Here comes the move now for Brad McCombs. Is he going to get the move? But Garcia protects the inside line. McCombs going to try the outside here as they come down to Tamburello. Big dive there by McCombs, but still can't get the job done.
Wow, what a race between these two. The action on that track between Garcia and McCombs is going to heat up because we're coming to the last bit. White flag is in the air for Dennis Diaz at this moment.
That is, and another piece of domination by the man in the BMW 420. I can see why he picked that number now. As he comes out of Tamburello down towards the Villeneuve chicane. And we still... Oh, skips up to second place. What's happened to Kauga? Kauga's had an incident here and he's slow. We'll try and find out what happened here, but I can't see what happened. I'm going to take a look and see exactly what happened here. And it was a straight up pass here. Kauga just got it all wrong into the double left-hander there. And Skip said, thank you very much. I'll take that away from you. Dennis Diaz, though, won't be disappointed too much. He'll be seeing that battle behind him thinking, yeah, that you guys carry on. I'm just going to win this one. Makes it through Aqua Minerale very nicely. Mackenzie Johnson's been in the wars. He's gone off track and he's dropped down to P5. And that battle with Nurnberger has definitely come to an end right there. As here comes Dennis Diaz down the hill for the final time here at Imola. Into the right-hander. Now just has those double left-handers to get things ended off in a right way, and it's going to be yet another victory for the BMW as Dennis Diaz comes down to the line. Another race win at Imola and will close the gap on the championship lead. And who'd have thought that at the start of the season? Great run by Dennis Diaz as McCombs finally put the move on Robert Garcia here through the hairpin. Very close battle between these two here, Byron.
Yeah, I've been watching that as you were calling the win for Diaz. These two have to still slug it out to the start-finish line. Side by side as, McCombs gets way wide going around the double left-hander. They are still in a drag race. He's got the preferred line through. Oh, God, this is going to be a tight race. It looks like Robert Garcia is going to hang on to it as McCombs gets it wide out into the grass, loses the track position as Garcia heads it up the hill. Garcia is going to claim the 6th position.
Yeah, and McCombs completely falling off the ball, gets it all wrong for the chicane to boot, and that is settled that one. And... that was a close run thing, but Michael McCoy, we missed him coming across the line. He is your winner in GT3 by some margin once again. It's the same as it was last week as it is this week. Paul Skip going to be second place here in GTE, followed by Terry Kauga Jr., then Tony Watson, Tyler Langenberg. That is your running order for the top 5 in GTE. GT3 is Michael McCoy, then Paul Boyle, Roger Shank on his debut in 3rd place. 4th going to Zachary Nurnberger and Mackenzie Johnson in P5. We're going to go straight to the interviews though, because that is what we've all been waiting for, as we're just waiting for people to file into Discord. Byron, before we do go to the interviews though, very quiet for the most part, but the battle's really picking up near the end, especially in GTE.
Yeah, like we were talking about during the commercial break at halfway point, how quiet this race was. You know, we were looking for the action on the track. We didn't think we were going to have, the finish that this group has given us week in and week out. And look what we have happen. We have that battle between Paul Skip and Kauga Jr. right at the flag. We have that battle with Brad McCombs and Robert Garcia right at the flag. I mean, these battles all over the track. I am so impressed by this group.
Yeah, as definitely worth the watch again if you want to go back and watch it. But right now, we are going to hand it over to Byron, who's down in victory lane, and we'll get a word with our good friend, Mr. Dennis Diaz. Byron.
Man, once again, the belt came out. Everyone else had to bear their bottoms as the schoolhouse whipping was laid on them. Dennis Diaz, Imola, what did you do? What is the secret weapon at Imola for you in the MMW?
I ate pasta earlier this afternoon. Maybe having some of that ragu helped.
Well, there you go. I noticed when I came in just a little bit late, and noticed that you didn't have the top spot in qualifying. Terry Calgar Jr. took it, but he had some adversity at the beginning of the race. But those opening laps looked like he might have had something for you. Was that the case?
Yeah, Terry got the pole, and when I was doing my pole lap, I messed up the second lap on going into the second Rivera, the second to last corner on the exit, and I was 4/10 up. I could have gotten the pole, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Terry got it, and yeah, I was battling with him after the first couple corners, and he made a mistake. He went too wide, and from that point on, it just took it.
Yeah, it looked like he might have had a little something for you to battle with, and then he was a man possessed coming up through the field. He wound up getting the third position overall, but this is a talk about Dennis Diaz, another win, another trophy to take home. You put Imola in the books with a victory. What's your thoughts going ahead? Because if I'm not mistaken, we're looking at Daytona next time.
Yeah, another track we've already been to. I won there as well last time. I don't know if it's gonna be the same case this time, because now I have a lot more, people going after me. So we'll see how it goes. But
yeah, we had to go out and to recruit some ringers to throw them at you just for the fun, just to see what we could do. Yeah, we've got some competition coming at you next week. I am so looking forward to Daytona. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've heard that Nate's coming along. It's going to be a good battle between me and Nate, since we were teammates in Spa, we're pretty much on the same pace. So it'll be definitely interesting to watch.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to watch. Well, hey, congratulations with the trophy tonight. Anyone you want to throw a shout out to before we let you go have the celebration?
Friends, family watching, same as usual. Just, thank you for watching. You guys for broadcasting as always. Mark for hosting the league. He's had a lot of work to do over the past couple of seasons with every other type of event that we do here. And, he's been doing a really good job. Same with all the admins and everyone. And to every competitor as well. They've been driving very well amongst everyone else as well. So it's just been really good from everyone. And hopefully it will recruit more people and we can have more fun racing together.
Yeah, we had a full track tonight. There was battles all over the place. Sam and I got to talking, hey, this is kind of quieted down, nothing really going on, but you guys come through, put on the show that you put on week in and week out, and you make it enjoyable to watch. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
That's your winner, everyone. Driver of the MMW 420, Mr. Dennis Diaz.
Yeah, that was Dennis Diaz, and now joining myself from second place overall, once I get my composure back, is one Mr. Paul Skip. And Paul, very interesting race for you. You were in a battle in that top five all night long, but it was the time you gained on that last pit stop that really put it forward for you, really putting it down to the wire. It was initially a battle between Terry and Watson through the pit stops, but you really capitalised on their battle and snuck it up there to second. Got to be happy with the way things went tonight.
Well, it's always good to be on the podium, but I wasn't really too happy with the way I passed Terry at the end. I'd like to apologize for that. We were just racing hard, and we made a little bit of contact going into the first left-hander going onto the front straight, and he locked up. I was trying to give him room, to go up the inside, and he locked up, went right by me, and I was like, oh man, that's just not the way to get a podium.
Yeah, but it was racing. It was all hard racing at the end of the day. I know it's difficult to take a second place, but you did anyway. And it's with regards to the championship battle as well, though. This is it's quite ironic, actually. You two find yourself on the same piece of track, especially with one eye on the championship. It's really closing up now between not just you and Terry, but with now Dennis throwing his hat into the ring.
Yeah, well, Dennis is always up front every week. It's going to be his championship to lose, I think, here going into the final handful of races, and we'll just try to keep it up front and keep doing what we can do week in, week out, and see where we land.
Yeah, and this new point system this season really gives a nod to consistency. You've been probably one of the most consistent drivers all season long. You're going to be looking to do that with the remaining races and try and keep up the best position possible?
Yeah, if I could stay top 5, I think would be a triumph. If I can keep it on the podium, 3rd or better, all the more better for the points championship. But right now I'm just trying to race clean. The last 2 races have not been good to me. I can't believe I came in second tonight, actually, Sam.
Absolutely. Well, next week we are off to Florida once again for the second time in 4 weeks. We are off to Daytona this time under the lights. What are your thoughts heading into that one?
Well, Daytona's everybody's favorite. Everybody wants to jump in the 24-hour. Everybody's practicing it. Everybody's relatively quick there. I think it's going to be a challenge to stay up front. I think we're just going to have to pick the best car and just try to turn smooth, clean laps and take big advantage of the draft.
All right. Well, should be looking forward to that one next week. But before I let you go, Paul, who's responsible for bringing that Corvette to second place? Any shout-outs you want to give?
Well, I'd like to thank everybody in the league. Always a great time racing with you guys. Love it. Couldn't imagine myself racing anywhere else. And I'd like to congratulate my teammate on his second podium of the season, I believe. Good job, Paul.
Absolutely. We'll be speaking to him in just a second. But for yourself, Paul, congratulations again on second place. Very hard fought and very well deserved. But we'll catch you next week when we head to Daytona.
All right, guys. Thanks.
That was Paul Skip joining me from second place, and still down in victory lane is Byron Rodney, and he is now joined by the winner in GT3. That'll be one Mr. Michael McCoy.
You know what? I'm gonna have to start making a weekly appointment with Mr. Michael McCoy because, dude, another race trophy to put up on the shelf there. But you have got to tell me, what is your secret weapon around Imola, because you ran that car so smooth and so easy around this track. It was an amazing thing to watch.
Appreciate that, Byron. Yeah, it's Imola is one of my favorite tracks. If I'm being honest, probably have like almost 1,000 laps around here in GT3, GTE, and open wheeler. So it was just a matter of finding the right brake bias and just keeping the car on the track.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drivers having some adversities through some of the corners because you could take the corners, you can get up on the rumble strips in some corners and be okay. Other ones seem to upset the car real bad. Is that just a matter of knowing where you can test those track limits and where you shouldn't?
Yeah, pretty much any of those corners that have those like sleeping policemen behind the curb, you got to be careful, like the entrance and the middle point and the exit of Tamburello. Like you got to keep it pretty narrow through there, but otherwise you can pretty much exploit those curbs on exit to keep like the momentum going.
Yeah, well, you were exploiting the heck out of it. You put a wood shoot whooping on the field. It looked really good. From our perspective, it made it enjoyable to watch, man. What's your thoughts moving forward? Because next week we're going to a track that everyone knows. We've been to it before. Everyone loves Daytona.
Yeah, Daytona. I was just telling Dennis that is my white whale. Like I've never really done well there. It's not a lot of corners, but like to get the entrance, to the infield correct and the exit corrected, it's something I've always struggled with. So I don't expect to have the outright pace, but I'm just going to try to keep my head down and shoot for a podium.
Well, you know what? I think you're going to have a great shot at a podium because you seem to be able to wheel a GT3 car pretty much faster than I could even think about wheeling a GTE car. Anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go celebrate another victory?
Oh yeah, appreciate it. I just wanted to thank my wife, of course, and my son, my sister, and my niece, and my great niece who are watching in Jersey. They watch the stream every Wednesday night, and send their love through the TV for me. And I kind of missed out of thinking Dennis Diaz a couple of weeks ago helped me get up to speed at one of the tracks. I think it was Catalunya, but and you guys too. You guys put on a hell of a broadcast, and all the league admins for putting this together. Looking forward to next week to racing with you guys again.
You know what? We're looking forward to seeing it. Can't wait. We're going to have fill out a bigger field. We got some surprise entries going to show up for next week to give the guys some challenge, man. We're hoping to see it all happen. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you guys later.
That is your race winner in the GT3 class, everyone. The pilot of the 33 machine, Michael Mccoy.
Yeah, now joining myself in second place in GT3, and another quiet podium for yourself there, Paul. Just really keeping it on track there in that car, and picking up another podium here tonight. Really on great form lately.
Contrary to popular belief, 2 is the loneliest number.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously you picked up second place at Sebring as well. Unfortunately, we missed last week, so I can't remember where you finished there, but definitely a great run of form you're on lately, and definitely putting you in good stead with the GT3 Championship. Just got that little little hurdle known as Michael Mccoy to get around, right?
Yes, no, definitely an unstoppable force at the moment. Looking to get at least a win to qualify for the All-Stars, but we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. But talk about your race here, Paul. Very much a race of attrition for the GT3 class. A lot of retirements in GT3 owing to a lot of mistakes, especially through the Villeneuve chicane, and through those final 2 left-handers at the end. What was your secret to just keeping it out on track there tonight?
Truth be told, no secret at all, really. It's a case of in traffic, I was one of the slower cars. I was fighting and losing ground to Bryce, to Keith. I was in and around with them for a lot of the early stints. I just that slightly later pit stop gave me a little bit of clear air, and once in clear air, I hit my marks, and just because the Porsche was notoriously difficult to stop in the heavy braking zone. So it's like lovely to have that little bit of a breathing room and not having to worry about a bumper behind.
Absolutely, and it definitely paid off for you again as you get, like I said, you got another podium here tonight. But next week, we are off to a very familiar track for everybody as we head to Daytona. Very flat apart, very flat for the infield, but very banked as you're on the oval. What are your thoughts heading into that one under the lights?
Curbs are definitely not the Porsche's best friend, so I'm anticipating it to be a little bit of an M4 fest. But we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? There's a few good GT3s out there, good few GT3 drivers across the whole field, and it's going to be a much more, hopefully a great competition for Daytona where people know the track.
Absolutely, definitely going to be looking forward to that one. But Paul, floor is yours. Who's responsible for bringing that car into second place here tonight? Any shout-outs you want to give to anybody?
My dad is my one-man band at the moment, supporting me every step of the way and showing a keen interest in my progress in this series. But I have to give a shout-out as well to the organisers, to Mark and to Zach, helping put it on week in, week out, and running such an amazing show here, as well as to Michael for just an unstoppable performance again today, and what I aspire to be able to catch up to.
Absolutely. Well, Paul, another great performance for yourself here tonight. Don't discount that one. Great performance for yourself. Another great podium, another great result for yourself, and we're looking forward to see what you can do when we head to Daytona next week.
Hope to speak to you soon.
So that was Paul Boyle in the booth with us here at Imola. But Byron, it was status quo again for the winners. For the third week in a row, we've had the same winners. Dennis Diaz, the winner in GTE, and Michael Mccoy, the winner in GT3.
Yeah, well, cream rises to the top. You know, these guys are setting a pace. They're setting a bar that everyone is trying to meet. And I think that everyone is starting to make progress on. We're going to a track that everyone's familiar with, everyone loves, the international, home of racing, Daytona Speedway. Going to be running that road course. The field is going to get loaded up with some other drivers from other leagues that are going to come over and run it with them, like we forecast. Nate Seeker's going to come over to try to give Dennis Diaz a run for his money, but I have received confirmation an application was set in. The 55R said, bring it.
Absolutely, and I believe Chris Samard will be there next week to represent V-Speed, so he'll be on track as well, given his V-Speed teammate Safe Ferry's a bit of backup. But for now, that is going to be it for us tonight. Looking ahead on the schedule for this one. Before I do that, though, let's take a look at the results of the race, that I completely overshot that one. But let's take a look at your results in GTE, and it was Dennis Diaz with a 35-second lead win over Paul Skip, who was in second place. Terry Calgar Jr. comes up in third place. Fourth place going to Tony Watson and Tyler Langenberg running out the top five. Robert Garcia and Brad McCombs had an epic battle to round things off here at the end of the race, but Brad McCombs coming off the worst. Garcia picking up sixth, Brad McCombs in seventh. Ryan Tyler, a difficult race for him, is down in P8. Jesse Brennan in P9. Joe Morganti, a baptism of fire here tonight. He gets P10, and Mark Dillon Jr. did not start the race here tonight. But he's classed in P11, Byron.
Yep, let's go to the GT3 class. Your race winner, Michael McCoy, bringing it home in that first position. Paul Boyle, he comes home second in GT3. Roger Shank, quietly, we didn't call that number a whole heck of a lot, but look who's standing on the podium in the third position, pilot of the 950 machine, Roger Shank. He brings it home in third. Zachary Nurnberger, fourth. Mackenzie Johnson rounding out the top five. Marcus Osborne in sixth. Rick Hoyle in seventh. Dave Ferrara eighth. Christopher Craig. Oh wow, he just started what, 2 laps down, completing, and he gets it all the way up to the 18th position. Picks up 10 spots. In the 18th overall, finishing ninth. Sorry, Atticus Middleton rounds out the top 10. Bryce Anderson. He's got 11th. Jack Gunset, followed by Sean Atkins, Daniel Barnett, Timothy Emmanuel. These are all early retirements. Tyler Vickery, Safe Ferries, and Cody Atkins. Keith Roycroft had his adversity early too. He didn't even get to take a lap, I don't believe.
Well, he did turn 3 laps, so he finished 51 laps down. But that is going to be it for that. Looking ahead on the schedule, we do have some more racing coming towards you on this one, as tomorrow we are back with the TNT Truck Series, brought to you by USRA and sponsored by Tickle Zombie, as they continue their season. Then on Friday we are back with the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series, as they are in the second round of their series. Make sure you check out that one. Definitely going to be exciting. And that's going to be it for the rest of the racing for the rest of the week. And then Monday, obviously, we have the return of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. But for now, that is going to do it for us here on ESPN. Great racing all round once again. Congratulations once again to Dennis Diaz and Michael McCoy picking up another race win in their respective classes. But for myself, Sam Cooper Bennett, from my broadcast partner, Mr. Byron Rodney, all that's left for me to say is keep it clean, keep it green, and we will catch you tomorrow night live with Tony and, firstly, Frank Marchese in the booth for the TNT Truck Series. Have a good night.